Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy from Sicce Bros. In today's video, I'm going to be adding more fish to my saltwater reef tank behind me here. I'm also going to be upgrading some equipment as I have a brand new custom lid that looks amazing on the tank, and I'm also adding a protein skimmer. At the end of the video, I'll also discuss some future plans as far as corals and other equipment that I have on the way. This one's going to be a jam-packed video, so let's dive right in. Okay guys, so I finally got my custom made lid here. I'm really excited to see what this looks like. I had some custom engravings on a piece of this. Really excited to see what it looks like. Let's get it opened up. So it took a few months for this custom made lid to arrive, and it was definitely worth the wait. I have provided the custom dimensions from my tank and also the light cutouts on the back and the opening in the front for the feed door. I wanted a lid that wouldn't take away from the rimless look of the tank, but would also protect the fish from jumping out, and stopping some of the evaporation was also key. I was so ready to remove those tote lids that I had on here temporarily and put this in place. Maybe the best part of this lid is the custom engraved evap cover. I really wanted this evaporation cover so I wasn't constantly running through RODI water and refilling the tank. I also really like the aesthetic. The logo looks great, but I think it's subtle enough that it doesn't take away from the natural look of this saltwater tank. I think the lid really completes everything, and I couldn't be happier with how this turned out.
Dear God, it's beautiful.
So next, let's unbox and put together the skimmer. For the protein skimmer, I went with the Eshopps X-120. I had a really difficult time choosing the right size and brand for my tank. This is the first protein skimmer I've ever had since I've never had a saltwater tank before. I had actually bought a reef octopus skimmer initially, but it seemed a bit big for my sump and it didn't have the same color pattern as the rest of my sump and plumbing. So I went with the Eshopps due to the size, the color, but most importantly, it's powered by a Sicce pump. And that's what really put it over the edge when comparing these two models, and I went with the Eshopps. So it's pretty easy to assemble this protein skimmer. I just loosely had to unscrew the base plate and then screw on the Sicce pump to the base and then put the casing back on top. From there I just needed to tighten the screws back, add the venturi, slightly pushing that in to make sure it was right up against the pump, and then attach the air line. Once I had it all assembled, it looked great and it was ready to go into my sump. I needed to make some room in my sump, so I moved a lot of the media that I currently had in there to the side, and then put the skimmer down into the sump. One thing I noticed is that my water level is a little bit too high for the optimal range for this skimmer. So I ordered a skimmer stand from Bulk Reef Supply that will lift the protein skimmer just a bit in the water to give it more optimal performance. So being new to the skimmer world, I plugged this in and immediately water went everywhere. I overflowed the skimmer, but no big deal. I started tuning it and getting the water level to a more ideal state. I'm still going to be tuning the skimmer over time, especially when I get that stand, so more to come there probably in the next video. So just a few final touches for the sump. I'm going to be adding Pure Blue, which is great for your water clarity, and I use it in almost every aquarium that I keep. And then of course, powered by Sicce. So when picking out fish, I went to one of my local fish stores, Beyond the Reef. This is where we've gotten a lot of our fish from, and I will likely get corals from here as well. They have an awesome variety and selection of saltwater fish here. They have a ton of great looking angels, and if I ever had a bigger saltwater tank, I think I would definitely want to do one of these. They had a lot of different variations of wrasse that I really liked and I think I wanted to go with. They also have an awesome selection of freshwater fish, a lot of varieties including these puffers that I loved. I get a lot of my freshwater fish from the store as well. I was also looking for maybe a goby or some type of bottom dweller. There are a couple that stood out, including this lawnmower blenny here. But overall, they had what I wanted. Let's check it out. Okay, so we got the fish down here. Let's see what we got. The lawnmower blenny. This guy was hilarious in the local fish store, and he was watching me. He was perched up on that shell, and he looks like that gopher that screamed Alan.
Alan! Alan! Alan!
So I think this guy's gonna be named Alan.
Alan.
Next up is a goby. This was labeled as a watchman goby, but he's kind of big, so I think he lost some of the yellow, and he's a little bit stressed out, but we'll get a good look at him when he's in the tank. I got 3 nearite snails. That's actually for a freshwater aquarium. And then lastly here, we got a little emerald crab. I had one of these crabs in the original cleanup crew I got, but he didn't make it. So this guy's a little replacement for the crab that didn't make it. Let's get these guys drip acclimating and then we'll put them in the tank. Okay, so just to recap, I added 4 new inhabitants to this tank. I already had the clowns and the cardinal fish, but I added a 6-line wrasse, a lawnmower blenny, a goby, and also I replaced an emerald crab. So a lot of new additions to this tank I'm really excited about. The custom lid also looks amazing and I love the logo. I couldn't be happier with that lid. It was definitely worth the wait of the production for the lid to get that custom logo and just make sure everything was good long term. I also wanted to get the lid before I got the goby and the 6-line wrasse and just a few of the other tank mates, just to make sure they didn't ever jump out of the tank. When it comes to the protein skimmer, I also have a skimmer stand that is on its way here in the mail right now. That will give the skimmer a little lift so that the water level is optimal for the skimmer that I currently have. So I'll be tinkering and toying with the skimmer to make sure I'm tuning it correctly, especially making sure it is ready to go whenever I'm adding coral. I have a full plan of the corals I want to get for this tank and where I want to put them. I'm really excited about that. They will be the first corals I've ever gotten. I'm really excited. I can't wait to not only stock this tank with corals, but also film the videos and get those out in the next few weeks. So definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future updates on this tank, along with some other big plans that we have on the channel. We're always upgrading and growing, so you won't want to miss that. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next week.